Ahead of the 2023 NBA season, Commissioner Silver announced the addition of two teams, the Seattle Sonics and the Nashville Sound. Now here in 2029, those teams have both made it to the top of the NBA mountaintop and will face off in the finals. The Sound trying to get their second consecutive title, while this is the Seattle Sonics' first appearance since their expansion. Since 2023, only one player remains, as I accidentally pressed the start button here, on each of the teams. For Nashville, it is Moses Moody, the last remaining, and for Seattle, it is Isaiah Joe. So very different teams from when these two were facing off in an expansion draft against each other. And I gotta be honest, I think Seattle's run to the finals is ultra surprising. I mean, I didn't really assign winners and losers to last offseason, but I definitely would have assigned Seattle as one of the losers. I mean, they lost their three best players, their four best players, to be honest, in last free agency. I thought they could have done better at filling those holes back up, but here they are in the finals a year later, so absolutely proving me wrong. And they've also got themselves an 8-5 lead here early, and this one is Lowry misses a dunk. Didn't exactly have a great line of sight on it, and it results in a Karl Anthony Towns post shot, and Seattle leads by 5 early. Pick and roll here. Bounce pass in to Malachi Pope, who finishes the play. Baldwin with it. Gets it inside to Onyeka Okongwu. And one of the interesting things about this finals matchup is kind of this two big lineup that Seattle has going against what is ultimately kind of a small forward lineup here for the Nashville Sound. They currently have Francis Mullins matching up against Karl Anthony Towns. That leaves Ernest Augustine on a center. We're going to have to see if he can handle his own down low. This time he gets called for a foul. Been some mixed results so far, but it's going to be key for Nashville here to figure out a way to counter this too big look for Seattle, because it could really become a problem with interior defense and rebounding. Beautiful alley-oop there for Lamond Powers. Makes it a 13-12 Nashville lead, but Seattle takes that lead right back via a Dyson Daniels long ball. Lowry left all alone beyond the arc and makes the Sonics pay. Teams trading the lead here in the first half of the first quarter. Baldwin forced to chuck up a three late in the shot clock. He, of course, was drafted by the Sound in the expansion draft, now playing for the enemy in the finals. That is just way too much space there for a great shooter in Jordan Hawkins. Malachi gets an equally good look on the other end and answers that three right back. Rims around and out for Patrick Baldwin. Mullins now with it. Handoff to Malachi Pope. A floater in for two. A beautiful play there. It was also announced prior to game one that the left shoulder injury that had been bugging Malachi Pope in the Eastern Conference Finals was fully healed, so he should be full go here, as he went full go right into the chest of Jordan Hawkins and gets called for the charge. Hawkins, we get lucky there, him missing that shot. Mullins takes advantage of the mismatch there, although you'd like him to maybe be a little bit more aggressive having a guard on him. Speaking of aggressive, Lamond playing some great aggressive defense there, gonna force the shot clock violation all up in the grill of Barrett as the shot clock was winding down there. And Davidson, right as he checks into the game, gonna start firing like he always does. Some great help defense there, but unfortunately it freed Okongwu up for the offensive rebound. AC Stevens No good on the fadeaway there. Tipped away and stolen by Sidney Lowry. Finding Davidson ahead in the fast break. Gets the layup and the foul. Getting him 3 points here and giving Nashville a 4-point lead. Hawkins off the catch. No good. Great contest there from Sidney Lowry. Step back from Davidson. Is a misfire. Inside to Okongwu, a great pass there. Free the big man up for the basket. Pick and roll. Powers trying to find Lowry, but is stolen away. Hawkins. Another great contest by Sidney Lowry, but this time he nails it right in his eye. Hawkins definitely a high-level shooter. This time he does a great job in defense against Sid the Kid. Hawkins once more, defended by Lowry. And some more great defense played. Powers in transition. A strong drive to the baskets. Draws the foul. Been a heavily back and forth first quarter here between these two teams. And Powers makes this, which he does. It'll give Nashville back the lead. We've seen a lot of lead changes here in the quarter. And with that miss, that'll wrap up a very entertaining and competitive first quarter between these teams, 29-28 in favor of the Sound. The question is, can the Sonics keep it going? Because as you know, in these middle quarters, the Nashville Sound in this playoff run this year have really stamped their foot on these teams, and I can't believe we didn't get a score out of that fast break. That was a bad shot by Malachi from a guy who's usually pretty reliable in setting us up for the best shot possible. Chris Murray, a fadeaway shot from the post, misfires. And Davidson just blows right by Dyson Daniels in transition and gets right to the basket. Pull-up mid-range shot is good from Jones. Pick and roll between the two guards here. Davidson finds Pope on the inside. Barrett fakes the shot, instead finds the rolling big man who finishes through the foul. Mullins here, cross-court pass to Bowman. Fires off of it for three. Breaks the 35-35 tie. Barrett in isolation against Moses Moody, but a very good defensive possession. Davidson. I mean, the second this guy gets a little bit of space to fire off that jump shot, you know he's going to do it. Luckily for us, he makes it a fair amount of the time. But this guy is just the further and further he gets in his career, the more and more confident of a shooter. No matter the situation he becomes. Great defense from Mullins. I don't know why Murray was so intent on trying to fire over a man who's much bigger than him. Pick and pop for Seattle. Patrick Baldwin drills that three-point attempt. Oh, waiting patiently for the open man, and it's going to be Ernest Augustine from beyond the arc. Barrett trying to answer back from three, rattles around the rim and out. Lowry trying to get by Dyson Daniels, but that's some good defense. Fortunately for the Sound, Mullins was there to clean up the glass. Some great man-on-man defense once more from the Sound. Forces another late shot clock jumper. Mullins, nice step back shot from the post to make it an 8-point game. Okongwu swings it over to Karl Anthony Towns for two. Lowry out to Moody, a very deep three. A little bit deeper than we're used to seeing from Moses. That results in a Karl Anthony Towns score once more. Mullins in the post again. Draws the help defense. Much better shot for Moody this time. And when's the last time we seen Moody miss a three that good? Feels like it's been forever. Hawkins will take the pass from Okongwu and score another jumper. Very lethal shooter here. Malachi answers right back for three. Baldwin just left too much space. I mean, we're very well aware of how good of a shooter he is. You gotta stay on him at all times. Daniels will stop and pop off the mark. In transition, we find the open man right under the baskets. Two-hand flush for Augustine. Hawkins step back. I mean, this guy is something. 2-point game, but Lowry makes it back to a 5-point Nashville lead here. Hawkins, another chance from beyond the arc. But this one is off. Davidson was gonna fade away there for a minute, but then the animation kind of made him more square up a bit. I think that's why he made it. That was a weird shot, but we'll take the result. Nashville passing the ball around here. They find Davidson, contested three, but he's feeling it right now. Baldwin, top of the key. Swings it to Jordan Hawkins. To Daniels, to Baldwin. A lot of passing, but nothing getting open there. And with that shot clock violation, Nashville will be taking a double-digit lead into half. I mean, this was just a 2-point game with 2:05 remaining. But as you so often see the elite of the elite teams do in the NBA, they close the quarters strong. And, I mean, Seattle had to be feeling good about where they were at with 2 minutes left, but not so much anymore. Double-digit lead. Pope and Davidson both with 15 points at the break. Couple of guys in double digits, Hawkins and Baldwin for the Sonics. Both players hot from three in the first half. Stolen away here by Francis Mullins. And results in Lamont Powers off the dribble three. I think Seattle will take that about as much as we'll give it to him. Pope left just all to his lonesome off the handoff there. Great space created by Big Fro Mullins. All on top of the key. Good closeout. Force a miss. Powers up top for Ernest Augustine. What a slam. Wow. There are few things you like to see more than a poster from an alley-oop. I mean, that's just absolutely beautiful. Powers this time gonna shoot it himself for a three. We've seen a couple of those from Ernest Augustine in this playoff run, and they are highly entertaining. Nashville leads by 14 here as we find Malachi Pope on the cuts for a one-handed slam. I mean, this guy will go for a layup when he's got full steam ahead on a fast break, but give him, pretty much no momentum from a cut, and he'll just go right up for a slam. It's crazy. This guy's dunk versus layup decisions at times. One's from the line. He's going to miss the first of his two attempts, but he will not go to 0 for 2, excuse me. Nashville leads by 17. Baldwin cuts that down to 14 with a wide open three. Mullins draws help defense, but doesn't realize it until he gets the offensive rebound, finds the open man. It's a miss, but his second offensive board gets us a third shot attempt, and we can't go 0 for 3. Lowry makes sure we get some points on the board in that possession. Seattle forced to a late shot clock three off the inbound. Pope can make this a 20-point game, but he missed that three-pointer. Seattle misses one on the other end. Hope with a second try here, and that one is down the barrel, and Nashville now leads by 20. We'll transition to showing the makes. It happened a little bit later in this game than maybe it has in the past, but ultimately, every time out, this team goes on what I'm now dubbing the death run. You know, there's the infamous death lineup from the Warriors, and we might not have that, but what we do have with this team is every single game in this playoff run, at some point, most of the time in the second or third quarter, we just go on this run. And you can call it, you know, whatever you like. You can call it the suffocate and strike, the tie down and tempo. There's probably better names I could come up with. That's just what I got on the top of my head. The point is, it all starts on the defensive ends. I mean, Seattle had, what, 52 points with 2 minutes left in the first half. Not bad. Next thing you know, it's 61-81, and it's just because the defense really tightens down. That's the suffocate, the tie down, whatever you want to call it. And then we turn that great defense into quick buckets in transition. We start to hit our threes, and sometimes it happens really fast. You know, we had a game where we turned a 5-point game into a 20-point game in 3 minutes. This time it took us 9 minutes to turn a 2-point game into a 20-point game. But the point is, it'll eventually come for you. Sometimes it's a slow death. Sometimes it's a quick, merciful death. But it's coming for you all the same. And even furthermore, the reason it's a death is there's just no way you're getting back. We might, once we get to the 20-point lead, not really extend it that much. As you can see, as we're in the fourth quarter, we haven't really extended on that 20-point lead really much here, as that's a sick dunk from Malachi off the drive. But, you know, we're not greedy. Once we get to 20, we don't need any more. But there's one thing for sure, is you're not coming back from the 20. You might not extend it every time, but you're certainly not shrinking it either. That's the killer instinct that I think makes it the death run that has been really the calling card of this year 6 playoff run. Acrobatic finish there from Moses Moody would put us up by more than 25, which I think means we could pretty easily call this one a ball game. I really thought there for a while that Seattle was going to make this something that we'd have to come down to the wire to. Again, they lasted longer than most for us, you know, in this playoff run, but the death run comes for all. Malachi with an absolutely stellar game, 29-14. His first game fully healthy back from that injury he suffered in game 4 of round 2. With that being said, it's time to hop into game 2 and see if we can't keep our undefeated postseason alive here. Hawkins from the corner finds Karl Anthony Towns. We're going to force him to earn his 2 points from the free throw line. First is up and in. Second is as well. So Seattle gets the scoring going in this one. A deep 3 from Malachi. He's really good off the catch, of course, but he doesn't usually extend it out that far. Hawkins was a really good shooter in game 1, and he's got things going early here in game 2 as well. Lowry, though, with the response. Baldwin left all alone. Our guys need to start fighting through these screens a little bit better. These jumpers are a little too open. Malachi answers for 3. Karl Anthony Towns inside against Mullins, and the defense was good, but Karl Anthony was just a little bit better there. Tough leaning 3-pointer by Sidney Lowry, but not too tough for him. Daniels, great defense from Lamont Powers. Gonna force the miss at the end of the shot clock there. A tough leaning mid-range shot. Saw one of those last game as well from Malachi. Gives the Sound their first lead of the game, and that basket puts Seattle back on top. Lowry hit a three very similar to that just a little bit earlier, but that one is going to be a miss. Baldwin, too much space again. These screens are creating a ton of space for their shooters. Luckily enough, we got a few shooters of our own. That in the post, great spin shot there to create space. He's a very dangerous post player. That's why we put Mullins on him. Lowry gonna miss after a solid closeout from Daniels. Anthony Towns with it once more. To the corner for Dyson Daniels. Seattle leads by 6 here, which I believe is the largest lead, or the largest deficit, I should say, for the Sound this entire postseason run. I can't be sure of that, but we certainly have not been behind very often. And here's what I'm talking about. He'll show off great athleticism sometimes, but why is that a layup, Malachi? Show a little something to the fans. Not that it's that important. It counts for the same 2 points, but I mean, gotta be a little fancy there. Much fancier than you just showed right there with that miss. Daniels deep range there. Going to miss, but Anthony Towns is going to secure the offensive rebound. Quickly fire from the corner off the inbound. Missed. Lowry stepping. What is that shot? Sid, you're 95, 96 overall, bud. You know better than that. And then he won't take that shot. That was a much better look for him than the last one. And he takes that one instead. At least he made it this time. This shot selection from Sidney Lowry is very poor in this stretch. Pushing ahead to Lamont. Pump fakes, goes up, and another interior miss. You've missed a few of these down low. Start this game, and that's the difference right now. And now Seattle has a lead. An aggressive drive from Patrick Baldwin, but ours has been all over him this entire series, as long as he hasn't had to go through a screen at least. Hawkins gonna get fouled by Sidney Lowry, trying to close out on that mid-range shot. At least he's trying to go through these screens, doing better than some of our other guys, but I still prefer not to foul a jump shooter if we can help it. Lowry to Davidson. Decides not to shoot that one. I'm honestly quite surprised. Instead goes inside to Lamont Powers, who draws the foul. First free throw in and out. And he splits him. Seattle up 23-20 here. Hawkins trying to add to it, but he's off the mark on the 3 ball. Davidson finding a quick shot for Sidney Lowry. It's another miss. Not a great efficient start for Sidney Lowry so far. Barrett, nice step back shot. Floats it in for 2. Powers left all the space in the world for the 3. And I said Seattle will take off the dribble shots, but not when he has all the space to spot up like that. On the interior, nice bank shot there by Jones. Step back for Lowry, decides not to shoot, but he finds the man inside. A.C. Stevens left wide open with the double team. Nyeka Kongwu misses that one. Lowry, deep 3 here. Put a little bit too much on it. Kongwu backing down A.C. Stevens, turns around and shoots. Puts it up and in, and Nashville's down by 7 here. We've got 1 shot left here in the quarter, and it's going to be a tough step back mid-range shot from Sidney Lowry. They're not great shots, but he certainly has the ratings to hit them at times. And Seattle's built themselves a little bit of a lead as we head to the second quarter. Starting the second with a Christian Davidson three. He missed everything. That's not the way you want to start the second. Inside, and that's also a shot that missed everything. Mullins off the catch. He airballed it too! 3 airballs to start the quarter. In a game where pretty much every single three-quarter shot, end of quarter heave hits the rim, we've started the second with 3 straight airballs. What is going on, man? That's wild. And then, speaking of wild, what a sequence that was. Results in a bucket from the rookie Bowman. Pick and roll, Malachi and Mullins make it a pick and pop from the mid-range. But Mullins can't drill the jumper. Inside, Bowman using that 240-pound frame to force the miss. That's why I viewed him as more of a forward ever since the draft, even though he is listed at the 2-guard spot. Inside, Darty finishes over the top of Mullins. Baldwin with it. Gets a screen. Pulls up from 3 off of it. And he, like Power, is much more of a threat off the catch. I think we'll take those off the dribble ones. Seattle has a couple of lineups where they put Murray in at the center, and that's when we're seeing Mullins dominate the offensive rebounds a little bit, which is exactly what you want to see when Seattle doesn't have a true center on the court. They did put one here in Karl Anthony Towns, but Mullins finishes over the top of him nicely. Anyway, Augustine hounding Baldwin. He forced Seattle into a lot of these late shot clock kind of just contested jump shots. Nashville could take the lead with this 3, but it's off the mark. Nashville hasn't had a lead since 11-10 early on in this ballgame. Lowry, deep 3-point shot. Almost found its way home, but it's gonna be a miss. Barrett misses one himself. Malachi from about a step inside the 3-point arc finds that easy jumper. Hawkins, even with the contest, I mean, this guy is a high-level shooter. He will shoot through contests and not really have much problem with it. Daniels, again, these little flare screens out here are creating way too much space for jump shooters for Seattle here. A big 3 from Pope makes it 44-40. Baldwin can't quite answer back, and how did that rebound go to Okongwu? It was right in the hands of Lowry. Lowry, speaking of him, gonna pick up the assist there on a nice pass inside to Mullins. And a double team is gonna leave Hawkins wide open. Why are we doing that? Why are we double teaming Karl Anthony Towns from the free throw line, who has 6 points? I will never get this game's infatuation with the double team. That's just a horrible, horrible decision. Anthony Towns gets bailed out with a foul there. I mean, 6 points, and we're double teaming him from the free throw line. Why? Lowry, tough 3, and he drilled it right in the face of his defender. Tipped away by Pope, but somehow ends up in Karl Anthony Towns' hands wide open. That's a little unlucky for our sound. Lowry, another long ball. He's heating up from beyond the arc. Daniels again wide open though, man. What is going on? Seattle leads by 5. 1:37 left here in the quarter. Help defense coming for Lowry, and he's gonna miss the baseline jumper. Hawkins. Defended by Pope. Kicks it out to Okongwu, who's gonna miss the mid-range shots. Pope. Nice job. Changing from the shot into the pass. Lamont Powers hits a massive three that makes it a 2-point game. That on the inside. Ernest Augustine with the great defense. Forcing the miss. Powers. You've got a chance to tie things up before the half. His shot is up and in, and this game is tied. A great sequence from Lamont Powers to finish out the half. And once again, Seattle led by 7 with, what, a minute and a half remaining? We go on that mini run to make it a tied ball game. Sidney Lowry and Lamont Powers were great down the stretch of that second quarter. They're a big reason we are not trailing here. To start the second half, Hawkins with 14 points, 4 of 5 from beyond the arc. Even though he's been, for the most part, I feel like pretty contested. He's just drilling these shots. We're going to start the second half here with Sidney Lowry. He's going inside, and a nice drive by him to give Nashville the lead for the first time since 11-10. Malachi driving in on Jordan Hawkins. Floater is too strong. Feed inside to Hawkins here. It's blocked away by Malachi. I mean, I know he's feeling it, but you can't just fire in the face of a guy that's taller than you. Transition basket is no good, but Sidney Lowry battling on the boards finds another Lamont Powers basket. How good has he been today? Lowry pulls up from 3, misses it. Pass on the inside to Karl Anthony Towns. Seattle just with great ball movement, but unfortunately for them, the defense from Nashville was just even better. Mullins running the court and drawing himself a foul. The Nashville crowd is into it as we've started this third quarter strong. They are not used to their team trailing as they did the entirety pretty much of that first half. As we foul a jump shooter. Man, we do this so much. I don't know why this is such a massive problem for this team. Now I get it. There's a big emphasis on contesting Jordan Hawkins. He was excellent shooting in the first half. Not as bad as, say, fouling Jared Vanderbilt behind the three-point line like we did in the last series. But you still just don't foul the jump shooters, man. Daniels from the mid-range, a tough shot for him. Pulls it back within 1. Lowry spinning, somehow hitting that shot. I thought for sure that was blocked. He had to put a ton of arc on it, but he gets it to fall. Okongwu, no good from the mid-range. Lowry to Powers. He's been feeling it, but not that time. Here Powers playing defense on Okongwu and force another miss. Nashville running the court. Sorry, not Powers. That's Malachi, the answer. With a shot in transition. Could this be the start of our death run? We're playing some great defense. We're running the ball up in transition. We're finding guys on the inside for and ones. This is starting to feel like when Nashville's going to take a hold of this ball game. Inside to Karl Anthony Towns. Didn't have much time to come up with something, but he had the smaller man on him and was able to take advantage. Davidson, great look from beyond the arc, and it's right down the barrel. In the post, Okongwu does a nice job leveraging AC Stevens for the basket. Davidson again on the pick and roll, this time with the assist to Malachi, who gets a steal here. He's in transition, just toying with the defender there. It's almost like he allowed him to get in front of him so he could get the foul on top of the baskets. get that extra points. Malachi doing him dirty there. Baldwin, tough three-pointer in the face of Bowman. Davidson off a nice feed from Malachi to lead him past the arc. Daniels. I mean, that play has worked many times for Seattle in this game. We have not done a good job stopping it. But Seattle has not done a good job stopping Malachi Pope in this quarter at all. He's had himself a surge here in the third. And that's led to a surge here from the Nashville Sound in general. Howard's going to miss from the corner. He's cooled off a little bit after that odd stretch that pulled us back into this game. AC inside will draw the foul. Nashville leads by 10 here with 2:40 remaining in the third. This has been by far the most competitive game we've had all playoffs long. But Nashville has been strong here in the third quarter. Pick and pop for Baldwin. Great job staying home by Bowman, though. EC to Lowry from deep. Misfires. Tyson Daniels left all the space he needs. Top of the arc to trim back to single digits. Moody, double pump, and a nice finish over Okongwu. Under a minute left in the third. Davidson fires for three, and AC Stevens cleans up the boards. Tyson Daniels, pick and roll coming from Daugherty. Fires from beyond the arc. Rims out. Inside, great pass there from Bowman. Nice job to recognize that AC Stevens had the leverage on the inside. And Seattle going to turn it over on the last possession of the third quarter. So a tied game at half turns into a 12-point Nashville lead here in the third. Maybe not quite the death run we're used to in this playoff run, but Nashville has definitely gained an advantage here in this second half. Can they hold on to it in the fourth, though? When's the last time we started a fourth quarter and the game didn't seem like it was already over? I'm loving it. Mullins misses. And you know what I've kind of been thinking about? With a lot of these quote-unquote death runs that I've coined here in this episode, I feel like a lot of them are happening in the third quarter. Now, I don't want to be starting any trouble by any means by saying this, but the third quarter just so happens to be the quarter that Sidney Lowry sits out a good portion of. Now, I don't think that means that, you know, Sidney Lowry is holding this team back by any means. Of course he's not. He's our best player. But I am starting to wonder, is maybe Malachi Pope here, and he's showing it off right here as I'm talking about his name, is he become our most, valuable offensive player? I kind of feel like, you know, in the year 5 playoff run, I was worried about what the team might do whenever Sidney Lowry was off the court, but I kind of feel that more for Malachi Pope this year. I just feel like the shot quality in general as we force Seattle guard out of bounds, Indiana Pacers style, but I just feel like the shot quality is so much higher in general as Malachi puts up a terrible one here. One Malachi's on the court, and I honestly, if I had to guess, I haven't actually looked at the stats at all, I'd have to say that Malachi Pope has the best plus-minus on the team in this playoff run. I just feel like shots like that are just so much more common when we have the ball in his hands. And, you know, Christian Davidson, I feel like he's been a good backup point guard in the past, but this year he's really become very shot happy. And it's kind of funny that as I'm saying these things, it's playing out in the game in front of me. But so just the overall passing when Malachi's not on the court is so much worse. And you know, that makes sense when he's your best passer, but I just feel like in the past we've had, you know, the options behind him were a little bit more, it was a little bit more even, I'll say, whereas now, like, Malachi is by far and away the best passer on this team, and I'm interested to see. I'm going to check after game 2 what is the plus minus, where everybody ranks. I would be willing to bet that Malachi is leading the team in plus minus here. Seems like all these death runs, he's on the floor. And this is just me guessing, of course. Didn't actually go through all the episodes to make sure that was the case, but it'll be interesting to see. That was a point-blank miss from Patrick Baldwin, not his best look. All the way to the rim is Sidney Lowry, and now we're up 19. It looks like Seattle is not going to be coming back in this one. Once again, you know, they lasted longer than most. They lasted even longer in this game with a competitive game than they did in game 1. So, much as I thought they were maybe a surprise team that I didn't imagine being a finals contender, they've actually proven here in these first 2 games why they did make it to the finals, because they've been our toughest team yet. But either way, the Nashville Sound are going to come out victorious here in game 2 as well. We did end up building a 20-point lead, and now this might sound sarcastic, but I truly do mean it as a compliment. Like, the Sonics forced us to not have a 20-point lead until there was less than 5 minutes remaining in the game, which again sounds sarcastic, but I genuinely think that's a really good compliment because we built a 20-point lead in almost all of the first halves that we played in this postseason, and definitely by the third quarter of every game, but it took us most of the ball game this time around. And once again, kind of like game 1, even more so though in this game, I thought it was going to be a game that came down to the wire. Now, I would check after the game, and Malachi Pope does not lead us in plus minus, so I would have lost that bet. Still Sidney Lowry, and actually Lamont Powers is at number 2, though that's not surprising. He's a very good team player. And so the fact that the team performs well when he's on the floor is no surprise to me. It's Malachi's about 1.5 behind Sidney Lowry, which, like I said, is a bit of a surprise to me. But shouldn't be too surprising that our best player is our best plus-minus player, because Sidney Lowry's defense still makes him our most valuable player, even if I think Malachi Pope might be catching up to him offensively. That's all I've got. We've got games 3 and 4 coming up soon, and until then, sound up.